Welcome to Pera's Playbook. This is your host, Alex Pera. Let's open up our playbook and see who our guest is. Please enjoy. Welcome to episode 88 of Pera's Playbook. Today I'm joined by Connor Raffaelli, recent graduate of Houghton High School. He played 96 games with the Houghton Hockey team, 89 points. And he'll be headed over to Austria soon, which we'll dive into later in the episode. But Connor, how's it going?
Good, yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. It's beautiful out. I think I'm gonna go golf after this. It's
Yeah,
perfect day for it.
yeah, for sure.
The weather's been so crappy. It's been hard to really do much golfing or anything else outside consistently.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our golf meets and some of them haven't had the greatest of weather, but it's nice that it's finally a beautiful day out here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, too much rain mixed in there, but we're it feels like it should be like deep into summer because spring was, and winter like we're so weird. I feel like it should be like the end of June right now, but it's only the start.
Right. I feel like we've been cutting our grass for 2 or 3 months already.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's talk Houghton hockey a little bit. Obviously, I mean, like for anyone who doesn't know, Houghton's one of the best public school hockey teams in the state of Michigan. Always competitive year in and year out. And then obviously you got Hancock and Calumet in the local area that are good too. So it's kind of like I feel like for local kids, when you think about like hockey, every local kid wants to play for their high school team. That's like a dream a lot of local kids have. Um, so what about for you? Like growing up, I mean, was that something that obviously was always on your mind?
Yeah, I think so. And I think everyone in this community kind of works on their on everyone to get them to their high school program. Like you play together all the way up and then it's like you're preparing to play for your high school program. And like I remember being on the ice as a kid and I remember seeing Coach Markham out there and like it's like you want to play for him so bad and that was always the ultimate goal, right? And I think that's kind of the sweet part of our community. It's not like downstate where you're pulling kids from here and here and here and it's like we're such a tight knit community and like I remember we obviously went downstate twice and we get applauded for that. Like we all grow up together and that's how we are.
Right. And I think it means a little bit more for some of the UP teams to make it downstate because I mean, the smaller public school, you're going down there, you're beating private schools that recruit and have tuition. So I mean, it's a whole different like animal when you look at the kids that are playing down there at some of those schools.
Right. I mean, like we played Cranbrook this year and you look at their roster and you're like, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, and then you shake his
Yeah.
hand and he's not even speaking English. And it's like, like, yeah, we lost, whatever, but it's like at the same time, did you really? And
Right.
kind of like you kind of look back at it and you're like, that's kind of the sweet part of ours. Like I've played with the guy next to me for, you know, 14, 15 years where these kids have maybe only played together for 4 at max.
Yeah, exactly. Like you grew up playing with the guys that you're playing with and the guys that you're playing against, on the local teams, Hancock, Cali, but everybody. You go downstate and that kid, it's his first year at the school because he just came from Canada or wherever.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of the sweet part of our community. And I think something that, I might look back at 20 years and be like, I'm super grateful for. Our kids might grow up together. And I think that's a really cool part of our community.
Yeah, it's more important than other things. I mean, I feel like the local community revolves so much around hockey from, when kids first learn to skate all the way up to, the GLHL and old timers. Like the whole community is just evolved around hockey.
Right. And you even like guys that do play in old timers, you're like, yeah, I played high school with them, and maybe you
Right.
even went to college and roomed with them. Like the two coaches that I played for, Micah and Corey, like they roomed together at Northern. Like I think
Yeah.
that's so and they played high school together and then they were on a coaching staff together. Like they've almost spent their entire life together. Like I think that is something that is super sweet.
Yeah. So let's talk about Coach Markham first. Obviously, I mean, he's one of the best high school coaches ever, Hall of Fame coach in Michigan. He's got records and just everything he's done with the Houghton program is incredible. So what was it like to play for him?
Yeah, it's like another thing you look back on and be like, it was like honestly an honor to play for him. Like with every record he set, he's in the Hall of Fame, has our most wins in program history. Like he's one of those guys that like he walks into a room and you're like, that's kind of sweet that he's even in the room. Like that's kind of the legacy that he's built. And like he's played for the program, he's coached so many games for the program. Like he's just an awesome guy, and that's the one way to put it for him is just he's built a legacy here, and he's someone that everyone kind of almost looks up to and has so much respect for.
And you guys got lucky, when he decided to step away from the program after so many years. I mean, that could be like, oh, geez, who are we going to get next as a coach? But then Coach Stipich comes in, and I mean, the program's doing just as good as ever, and he's going to take it in the right direction. So I feel like with a coaching change, it can be a bad thing, but for Houghton, it definitely wasn't.
Yeah, and it's not like a brand new guy came in and like he knew like the standard stayed the same with Micah, and like he kept it the same, a little bit of a different coaching style, but like he knew the standard and came in, and it didn't even really feel like a new coach, it felt the same because he had been there for so many years and played there. Like yeah, it just felt exactly like Corey was still there, honestly.
Right. And with both of them like working in the school and like being around hockey, like all you guys know them growing up. So it's not like you get there and there's this coach that you've never met before, you don't have any relationship with.
Right, for sure. Like, I remember Mike is our elementary guidance counselor, and elementary school was a little bit tough for me. And I remember, being in his office a few times, and him from way back when, and then you get there, and it's like I had a great bond with him, and still do. So that was a cool part. And then having Coach Markham as your gym teacher, even like as a freshman, like kind of build somewhat of a bond with him, even if you're on the team or not. So it's always great to have him in the school.
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel like it's better than, if you got a coach that, a new coach that comes in and he works some other job, he's got a different life going on. He might not be as devoted to the team as, Coach Markham and Coach Stipich were.
Right. Like there's a few coaches that you can see in this community even that don't work at the school, and maybe they don't have as great of a bond with them because they don't see them on an everyday basis. Sometimes they might missing practices for other things and stuff like that. And yeah, we're super lucky to have that as them working in the school and being able to be committed to our team every day. So that's huge
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, it's special, it's not something you see everywhere. So, I mean, one of the most, I think, unique or the best things about like Houghton hockey and the local hockey the rivalries that you guys have with local teams. And obviously the Wingding Hancock rivalry would top everyone. It's got to be one of the best rivalries in the state. But I mean, talk about that, for you personally, every year, playing Hancock, that week specifically means more than when you play them, early in the season or whatever.
Yeah, I think the big eye opener for me this year was like when we did our podcast with the breakout sessions. Like they came up and talked about some in-depth stuff, and like it really showed like how really big our rivalry is. Like it's one of the biggest in the state, and that's really saying something. But like everyone circles it on their calendar. Like I'm sure you've been there at a few games of the Wingding, and like it's an entire week process, and there's other sporting events that goes on, but you'd have to say the hockey's the biggest one. And I think everyone circles that on their calendar. Like you run out of that tunnel and you see all those fans there, and it's like one of those moments that you take in and you're like, wow, like all these people are here to watch not only me play but our teams play. And like you want to perform so well in that game, and hopefully you do. And I was super fortunate to never lose a game, and that was something that definitely you'll look back on and be like, yeah, that was like one of your greater moments for sure.
Yeah, I definitely remember being in high school. We'd go to the basketball game, and then you'd leave the basketball game early so you could get to the hockey game and get a good seat. It was no offense to the basketball team, but everyone wanted to get to the hockey game, and it was so packed. You had to get there early, otherwise you'd be hard pressed to find a place to stand or sit.
Right, especially at the Houghton County, that's definitely some weight in the D stadium.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then, with the size of the barns when they do get full, I mean, it's just electric in there because you got so many people smacked in or, kind of jammed into not the biggest barn in the world, and it gets loud.
It does get loud. I mean, as a player, you kind of you zone it out a little bit, but then like at some points during the game, you hear how truly loud it is in there, and you're like, wow, this is like, this could be the loudest game I ever play in.
Right. Exactly. I mean, exactly. I feel like people always think like, oh, a bigger barn has to be better. But if you have a big barn and you don't fill it up, it's not going to be that loud. And if you have a little
Yeah,
bit smaller barn, it's going to be loud.
yeah, for sure. And like even like playing at the D Stadium night in and night out, I think that's just super historic and something that we are definitely super grateful for because there's so much history behind it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's another thing, like looking at hockey in the community. I mean, the history goes way, way back into the early 1900s when they first started paying players. And I mean, you look at what the guys were wearing back then, and like the equipment they had, and it's crazy to think, playing hockey like that.
I know, like seeing all the history in the history room there in the D, like the equipment that they wore, I couldn't even imagine wearing that kind of stuff.
No, it'd be brutal, or not really having much for like pads or protection. You're taking a hit, or like
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't wear helmets.
yeah, no, definitely. Probably guys, a few concussions, I would imagine.
Sure.
So, do you have any like most memorable moments, looking back on your career with Houghton?
Yeah, like we just talked about the Wingding games, but those are something super special. And I think just like like we talked about growing up in the community that we do grow up in, just the memories made and everything like that. You're such a tight knit group, and but I would say the trips downstate are something memorable because, like you said, all the rivalries up here. It's incredibly a tall task just to even get out of here, and then to make it downstate is even more special. Like you get to go down there with your team for a second time, including the Trenton trip, and then you're going to play for something bigger than your community, which is a state championship. And to have the opportunity to do it 2 years in a row was something that I'll forever be grateful for. It didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but it was still a lot of fun and like leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, but it's something super memorable.
Right. I mean, you still guys still won the region. You got to hoist the regional trophy. Still added some, to the trophy case, and you still had a journey downstate, which, like you said, you're gonna remember forever. Just being with your team, being with these guys that you have a great bond with, going through it. I mean, everyone wants to win, but if you're gonna lose, you might as well lose with the guys that you've been playing with for 15 years.
Right, for sure. That's like one of the things that I'll cherish most is like now that I'm gonna go play on a different team now, it's like now it's just like my individual self, like working on myself, trying to, make lineups, perform better to try to get that next step, right? But like this year was like the big thing for me was like enjoying it most because this is the last time that it's ever gonna be like a, complete team thing and you want to win some team stuff, right?
Yep, exactly. So one summer, I'm assuming it was summer, maybe it wasn't, but you were with the Wisconsin Wendigo AAA, the NAPHL. You played a few games with them. How did that, come about? What exactly was that for you?
Yeah, I think that was the first year that they had done it. I think that was the first year that the Wendigo had officially come to Eagle River, and it was a fun time, and it's one of the only AAA programs like near us now with the electricians gone, and with Mikey Millette moving here, his dad kind of ran that kind of stuff and had asked me about it and wanted me to come down there, and I don't regret it at all. But it's a great program for kids, trying to skate like now these times right now and in the fall, like before a high school season, and I think is a great thing for us because it's really good hockey and it's not the closest, but if you're willing to do it, it's some good hockey. So I think it's a great resource for a lot of kids. There's a lot of good stuff that they do, like some great skill sessions, but you got to be willing with the hour and a half drive, an hour and a half drive back. So but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, so you would drive back and forth each day.
Yeah, I mean, I went down for a few practices and then go to Minnesota for a big tournament. But if you do the whole thing, it's like I think 3 tournaments. But yeah, it's definitely worth it. A lot of
Yeah.
scouts there and some good competition too.
Yeah, get some early exposure and learn a few different things.
Yeah,
So you're going to be headed over to Austria here at some point, playing in a U20 league over there. How did that all like come about? I mean, I was kind of surprised. I was looking at the Instagram one day and I saw this picture you pop up on Gremlin Hockey and it said you were going to Austria. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah. So like obviously, I kind of knew after my junior year, I switched to defense. Like after playing forward for pretty much actually my entire life, There was really never uh, like a thought in my mind of playing hockey after high school. It was kind of just like, see what I'm going to do. And when I switched to defense, my game kind of really elevated and I kind of found my knack for it. And after my junior year, I was like, maybe I got something going here, and you know, really started taking it a lot more serious than I ever had. And then, like my senior year, I thought I had a really good year, and some teams started reaching out, and I was like, this could be a real opportunity for me. And then went to Team Michigan after this year and came back, and Coach Stipich called me down to his office and was like, hey, like a team in Austria reached out and wants to talk. But the correlation was Tom Bissett, who played at Tech. He reached out to Micah, and he had a player on his team in Forest Hills Northeastern, and he wanted to go over to Europe. So he talked to Marco Casper, who plays for the Griffins, and his dad is the coach of the team I'm going to. And so he reached out to Casper and got this kid there, and they were like, if you have a defenseman that you have in mind that would want to come over here. So he saw me at Trenton and reached out to Micah, and I was like, thought about it for a few days, swallowed it a little bit, and was like, this could be a legit opportunity. And just talked to a few people, and they were like, this is something that you just can't pass up. And that's kind of like the message that everyone told me was, you can't pass this kind of opportunity up.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's once in a lifetime opportunity to get to go play over in Europe and live over there for a little bit and experience kind of a whole different hockey culture. And, yeah, you can't really pass it up. I mean, it's awesome to get to do that.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me that got me over there is like, I'm not the biggest guy, I'm not the strongest guy, and the kind of like the European style is like a lot more skill and a lot more like it's not as physical, like the North American League is a little bit more physical. And so I think that was kind of like the big one for me was like that's European style is more of my kind of hockey game.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's most of the leagues over there, like you said, it's skill, it's speed. You don't have to be big if you're a defenseman. I interviewed, quite a few guys over the years that have played over Europe and Sweden or Germany or various places, and one of them being Connor Hannon, and he kind of talked about that. His size wouldn't really fit playing over in North America if he was playing in the coast or something like that. Just the size of the defensemen, you got these brawlers that want to fight and stuff, and you don't get a lot of that overseas. And obviously that translates down to their junior leagues. But I mean, the skill is exceptional over there. I mean, the guys are just phenomenal, and you got guys that are in their like mid to late 30s that can just put up points, and obviously they were putting up points when they were younger too.
Right, yeah. And like Tom Bissett, who kind of set this whole thing up, he played over there, and I think he was a forward, but like he said, like it's just like so much skill, and he said it's like right up my alley for this. And coming from a guy who played at Tech and played over there, like that's kind of a big resource to say, like, yeah, this is right up your alley. Like you're gonna listen to that guy more than someone who might have played in the States.
Yeah, exactly. So do you know JP from Forest Hills
Um,
Northeastern at all?
I mean, I've reached out to him a few times and talked a little bit, but yeah, no, I've never met him face to face. So but we're all hockey players, so I think like we're
Yeah.
gonna get fine.
Are you guys going to be the only Americans on that team over there?
Yeah, they can only have two imports, so we'll be the only Americans.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will get close because you'll be the only two that speak fluent English. I mean, I feel like most Europeans speak English enough where they can talk to anybody. So I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to, but definitely, I'm sure you'll grow a bigger bond with him having that connection of both being from the States.
Yeah, and living together too, so we'll definitely have some time together.
So how long are you going to be over there for?
I leave July 29th, and then it's about 8 months. So
Wow.
like March, I'll be back unless we make a run in playoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you'll be living over there, get to do some sightseeing, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
take it all in.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just like I know we have December 10th through the 20th off, but other than that, like I don't know what holidays they celebrate or that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I have to figure that out. And my family wants to make a travel over there and come see me, so I have to figure that kind of stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely be pretty cool. I don't think anyone I've ever interviewed that's like played over in Europe has regretted it. I mean, they all say it's totally worth it to be
Yeah.
over there and to experience it.
Yeah, and I think like the coolest part for me is like, yeah, the hockey is gonna be sweet and stuff, but like, like all the traveling I can do on my off time and that kind of stuff, like that'd be way better than being in like Canada and in a small town where there's like nothing to do and I have a week off, like just
Yeah.
sitting in my
Right. The nice thing about Europe is, I mean, all the countries they're so much smaller. You can just like hop on a train and like one day you're in a different country. It's and I think what I've heard is like a lot of time like train bus tickets are pretty cheap, so you can just like go somewhere for the day and it really doesn't cost that much.
yeah, I think like Vienna is like I think like 4.5 hours away and it's like twenty
Oh
dollars on a
yeah.
train. Italy's like 5 hours away and that's like $40 on a train. Like that's just like who wouldn't want to go to Italy? And I can do it for
Yeah.
40.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, definitely can't blame you there. I think it'll be pretty awesome. We'll have to get you back on after and
Yeah,
talk about how it goes.
yeah, sure.
So, who is your favorite player you growing up or currently?
I mean, I grew up, playing forward, so my favorite player was always Alex Ovechkin. Like when they made their cup run, that was memorable. I remember crying in the living room, like that was like the highlight of my childhood was watching them hoist the cup. But nowadays, I would say like I really like Lane Hudson, who just debuted for the Montreal Canadiens before their season ended, and I really idolized his game. And I think we're like that's really who I idolize my game after
Yeah, for sure. Who's your favorite team?
the Capitals.
Capitals because of Ovechkin.
Yeah,
So you're still a Capitals fan, even though they're not.
yeah, gonna hop on the bandwagon. I remember
Yeah,
getting a stick for like my fifth or sixth birthday with like it was like a wooden stick with Ovi's face on the end of it. So that was like that was probably one of my favorite gifts.
yeah, yeah. I know how it feels to root for crappy teams. I've been a Ducks fan forever, and I mean, right now they're hot garbage, so it's
Yeah, they
not great.
so they might start heating up here soon.
I hope so. The GM claims that he wants to sign a top six winger and a top four defenseman in the offseason this, so he's got to go out and do it and see if they can do something. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, I mean there's plenty of bandwagons out there. People who weren't from Vegas or anywhere around there, and the Vegas Golden Knights come in and have one good year, and they're, oh, I'm a Vegas fan now. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's my brother. He's Vegas betting. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. My little cousin did that too. I feel like a lot of little kids, oh yeah, new team, hop on. But you
yeah,
can't blame a little kid. I mean, if you got a 40-year-old guy who's been a Coyotes fan for his whole life and all of a sudden he's a Golden Knights fan, you gotta say, I don't know about that.
exactly.
So what kind of music do you like?
Like in the locker room, like some throwback stuff. Maybe like we had a really good locker room music guy this year, and but I would say like if it's just like me, I would say I'm a big country guy.
Yeah. You're gonna it's probably, I don't know how that's gonna fit in over in Austria.
Thing is like are they gonna understand my kind of sense of humor and like are they gonna
Yeah.
say music I listen to like I like that kind of that's something that's a big question mark. Like what are we gonna listen to in the locker room? Am I gonna understand the words?
Right, yeah, it's gonna be some Austrian rap or
Yeah, yeah, I have no idea.
yeah, you'll be getting hooked on like Austrian TV shows, sitcoms, or like
Yeah,
dramas or something.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, that'll be fun though. So what about hobbies? Like what do you like to do for fun? What are you gonna do for the next few months before you head back, out overseas?
Yeah, I mean I would say like it's a short time, but I would say just kind of enjoy and kind of just like enjoying time with the family. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be gone, so that kind of stuff. Seeing my friends and seeing some people who have made this happen, like that kind of stuff. But like getting out to the golf course a few more times, and hopefully, getting training in and getting ready to go for and be ready to go over there.
Yeah, exactly. Wonder if there's a lot of golf going on over in Austria.
Yeah, actually, there's like 7 golf courses right in Klagenfurt, so
Nice.
that
Nice.
and I know we get to golf one of them for free, so
Oh,
hopefully get
that's perfect. I just feel like I haven't seen a ton of Austrian golfers on like the PGA Tour or whatever. So I guess I don't know how big golf is over there. You see a lot of Swedes, a lot of Germans, and and obviously guys from England, but I don't know if there's any Austrian. I'm sure there's been somebody, but
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I'm a big golfer, so hopefully I can get my club shipped over there for me, and
yeah,
hopefully courses. I know Klagenfurt's right in the mountains, so I'm sure there'll be some tough golf courses.
that'll be cool though. I mean, you'll be able to come back, you'll be golfing with people, and you'll say, yeah, I was golfing over in Austria last year, so I mean, this is just nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hopefully,
A little bit of a flex on somebody.
yeah,
All right, Connor. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking about Houghton hockey and your trip over to Austria here. Wish you the best of luck with that. It's pretty sweet opportunity. I hope you have an awesome time with that.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes soon.